my channel. I'm so excited. I have a lot of stuff planned. Music production, creative videos, car stuff, dog stuff, life stuff. I am just super excited to start making videos. If this sounds like something you want to follow along with, hit subscribe. Today, I wanted to talk about my new to me 2021 Tesla Model Y. I got an incredible deal on this car, and honestly, everything else set aside, it is a super freaking cool car. It drives itself. It's amazing. There is some discrepancies between my car and newer Teslas that come out, mainly the computer. There is two different computers in these cars, hardware 3 and hardware 4. The older cars are running hardware 3, like mine. Newer cars run hardware 4. It's just a bigger, smarter computer. So right now, with my car on hardware 3, I can run version 12.6.4, which is a very impressive software. It totally blows my mind. But to give you some perspective, the jump from version 11 to version 12 was huge. Tesla switched from hand coding all of the logic to neural networks, where it's sort of programming itself. That took things from feeling like a line following robot to feeling like a human driving the car. So, 2024, they dropped version 13, which made a huge difference in how the car drives. It has way more examples of scenarios it could run into on the road, and way more examples of how to react to those situations. Fast forwarding a bit to today, or the last couple of days, version 14.1.2 is out on hardware 4, and this is incredible. Full end-to-end autonomy. Hitting a button in your driveway, the car driving you all the way across the US, and parking you in a parking lot at your destination. The future of self-driving cars aside, I'm on version 12. This thing struggles sometimes. It feels a bit like a false promise, especially when it costs $100 a month to borrow it, or $8,000 to own outright on the car. So, let's talk a little bit about the difference that my car has. For the sake of entertainment, this trip has some of the worst encounters I've had using FSD, but I plan to put out another video soon to talk about how awesome it is to get to use this software. Getting right into it, most of this is pretty standard version 12 behavior. The car does an excellent job with speed most of the time when it isn't jabbing the brakes for some invisible danger. It follows lanes well. Most of the time, it can turn through intersections confidently, even with cars or pedestrians around, but it's a bit wishy-washy. Here we're pulling up next to the local Grange, and the blinker was on. I hoped it was going to turn into the parking lot, but instead it tries to turn onto this street and gets a bit nervous because it didn't want to cross into the oncoming lane too much. A bit uncomfortable, and you can definitely feel those steering wheel jerks in the car. Amazing example of the difference between version 12 and version 14. Version 12 will park in the middle of the street. I sent it down the road here towards a local bypass. I thought this would be a good example because this road is fairly poorly maintained and heavily wooded with no lane lines. I have had the car avoid all kinds of animals and objects in the road while FSD is enabled, but it doesn't do much for potholes, bumps, or defects in the concrete. It's a short drive to where we're heading, so I'll let you watch FSD do what it does best. It felt a bit fast approaching this turn, but it did an excellent job. The car takes an excellent speed through here. I do actually take over here right before the bridge. There's an extremely steep bump. I crawl over it here at 1 or 2 miles and you can see how much the car shakes. Wasn't ready to hit that at 15 miles an hour. turned around further down and I've sent it back towards the town that we were in. I pull up the camera view of the car here to show nothing in front of us. The car came to a full stop. Couldn't tell you why. I don't know if the new cars let you do this, but at least on hardware 3, you can tap the accelerator to make FSD move forward. From what I understand, it's just not really necessary with how good the new softwares are. Excellent example of phantom braking here. The car just kind of gives up before the bridge. As much as I can, I try to let the car figure stuff out on its own, but to keep things moving here, I tap the accelerator a few times. Finally, we start crawling over this bridge. Awkward, huh? Imagine if there were cars around. A lot happens in a very short amount of time, so I'll let you watch first and then I'll explain. So I would call that a critical disengagement. There's some kind of roadkill in the road here, and normally FSD would avoid it, but it didn't. I didn't want to re-flatten the poor guy. You can see FSD's visualization did try to avoid it, but decided otherwise and was continuing straight over it. That alarm was for me touching the fog line here, by the way. Immediately after a situation like that, I click FSD right back on. I must trust it somewhat. Coming up towards the store that I chose as the final destination for this drive. A major point of complaint for even people driving the newer hardware 4 cars is not rolling stops. I understand that legally it's required, but it feels very unnatural, especially in a busy intersection with a lot of cars around. While the car does its best to pull into this parking lot, I just wanted to point out that this software is incredible. For long trips, this is going to be a life changer. Most of the work can be done by the car. But when you're paying the same price for a software that in commercials and advertisements is capable of a lot more, this is pretty underwhelming and honestly feels like I'm missing something. I wanted to include this clip from earlier in the drive. This is one of the worst examples I've had of phantom braking. Luckily, there was no one behind me, but that could have been a pretty awkward situation. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I have so many cool videos already on the way, and I'm really excited to share more. Self-driving cars is something I've been passionate about, along with many other things, since I was a kid, and I'm just so ecstatic that I get to try it out and learn more about what these cars are capable of. If you have any recommendations or thoughts, put them down in the comments. Thanks for hanging out.